In December of 1994, the official Sega Pro magazine accidentally gave away the full game of KO Flying Squadron if you used a simple level select cheat to get past level 1. Then, a few years later, the official Sega Saturn magazine in the UK wanted a demo of Panzer Dragoon Saga, and instead of making one, Sega just slapped a not for resale on the actual finished disc 1 of the retail game, meaning you could play a massive chunk of the ultra rare RPG for the price of a magazine. And then many years later, hackers discovered that both the games Clockwork Knight and Burning Rangers also had massive secrets hidden in plain sight. Clockwork Knight 2 literally had the entire game hidden on the disc behind a cheat code for 28 years, and Burning Rangers demo disc secretly contained a massive unreleased prototype build of the game. Heck, in more recent years, those same swashbuckling hackers are using official Dreamcast demo discs as a way to cleverly boot up their, hang on, let me just check my notes here. Oh, sorry, they're backed up Dreamcast games. Yeah, right. Yeah, turns out it's taken Sega an incredibly long time to work out how to do demos correctly. Oh, hang on, this just in? Apparently they've never worked out how to do them correctly. Ah, Sega, I love you, my favourite retro gaming company. But my god, are you guys bad at showing off your upcoming games in demo and prototype format. You could make an entire channel dedicated to all of the screw-ups these guys have done over the years, but for today's video, I'm going to be looking back at 4 major examples of Sega screwing up with demos of their own games. And what better place to start off than to talk about a franchise that has kept Sega afloat during the not-so-great years. Oh, and I'm not talking about Sonic. Let's jump to February of 2018, the PlayStation 4 era. Sega is gearing up for the Western release of Yakuza 6, The Song of Life. Now, the Yakuza franchise has basically been the reliable breadwinner keeping Sega afloat during some of their, let's say, weaker financial years. So, naturally, they decided to drop a playable demo, on the North American PlayStation Store. What? 36 gigabytes? Yep, those players that hit the download button quick enough noticed that something was a little bit off with this demo. This demo was absolutely massive. We're talking over 30 gigabytes of data. Why so huge? Well, obviously, instead of uploading just a demo, they uploaded the full, completely playable, 100% complete game. But, just like before, this one wasn't an accident. Well, kind of. Their genius plan was to, once again, just put a digital wall in the code, and the idea was that the game would physically stop you from progressing past the first chapter. That way, if you did decide to buy the full retail release of the game later, it would just act as an unlock key and you wouldn't have to download anything else. But there was just one tiny but hilarious problem with all of that. Turns out that wall, in the North American demo at least, was basically non-existent. American gamers quickly realised that they could just keep going. Cue the absolute panic at Sega HQ.
We apologise, but have had to remove the Yakuza 6 The Song of Life demo from the PlayStation Store. We are as upset as you are and had hoped to have this demo available for everyone today. We discovered that some were able to use the demo to unlock the full game.
1 out of 2.
We're looking into the nature of this issue. Thank you for your patience.
2 out of 2. There was no other choice than to frantically yank that demo off the PlayStation Store and issue a painfully awkward apology over on Twitter. And the best part about all of this was that if you were lucky enough to download it, all you had to do was just quickly disconnect your PlayStation 4 from the internet before Sony had the chance to revoke the license. Yeah, you just got a full game before it was released, completely free of charge. Thanks, Sega! Contra fans, ever played Blazing Squad, My Friend Pedro, Hunt Down, or Guns, Gore and Cannoli 2? Zelda fans? Ever played The Spirit and the Mouse, The Plucky Squire, Death's Door, or Lil Gator Game? And what about you Streets of Rage fans? Ever played Karate Survivor, Blasphemous, Streets of Rage 4, or Final Vendetta, a game with the greatest soundtrack since the last Streets of Rage game? Well, lucky for you, every game I just showed off and every game you see on the screen is less than just a few quid. You can play all of these games for less than a few quid. Thank you to everybody who has been supporting the show and doing that exact thing by scanning the QR code that you see on the screen or clicking the link below and buying these and plenty of other games with massive discounts. All thanks to this channel's sponsor, Instant Gaming. Once again, just scan that QR code on the screen or click that link in the bio, make your way over to the site, hit that search bar, click Advanced Search, drag that price bar all the way down to the desired amount and find a whole heap of classic, retro and indie style games for the same price as something off the McDonald's saver menu. And of course, there's plenty of newer games that are available too. Games like Escape the Backrooms, IGN's Game of the Year mixtape, if anyone out there wants to play that. Or what about the brand new James Bond 007 games? There really is so much to choose from. Whatever you decide to get by clicking that link or scanning the QR code, not only will you most likely find your games a whole lot cheaper, but you will be supporting this show too. Thank you all so much for your support, and thank you Instant Gaming for the long time sponsorship. But for now, let's get back to the show. Now, if you want to see a series that Sega loves to, let's say, revisit, we absolutely have to talk about Puyo Puyo. The franchise is a bona fide juggernaut in Japan, a cultural staple and no doubt a bit of a headache for every other Sega marketing team around the world when yet another version of Puyo Puyo is released. Honestly, the strange obsession that Sega has for this series is quite absurd. In fact, if you've got a Nintendo Switch, there are 4 official ways to play that game right now. Puyo Puyo Tetris, Puyo Puyo Tetris 2, Puyo Puyo Championships, and the Sega Ages Puyo Puyo port. And if you really want to be truly pedantic, you can knock that up to 5 different Puyo Puyo games if you decide to count Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, which is just Puyo Puyo in a Sonic-themed disguise, hiding out on your Sega Mega Drive/Genesis collection. Just imagine sitting in one of Sega's Western offices, you've got the Switch 2 coming out, you've got a massive libraries of games that you could revamp and put out there for the launch of this brand new system, and then all of a sudden, oh my god, again, at least you could have mixed it up and called it, I don't know, Puyo Puyo Columns. Am I the only one that wants Puyo Puyo Columns? Slope from the future here. Whilst editing, I discovered that Puyo Puyo Columns did actually exist for mobiles back in 2007, but it was more of a combo pack of the 2 games as opposed to combining the 2 the same way that Puyo Puyo Tetris does. Anyway, carrying on. Look, I'm not hating on the Puyo Puyo series at all. In fact, I enjoy the games. But do we really need 5 ways of playing pretty much the same game for the same system? Nope. In fact, depending on what you want to get out of Puyo Puyo, or in this case Puyo Puyo Tetris, you might not need to buy any of the games at all. Which brings us to the most legendary blunder in the series history. The Too Good demo for Puyo Puyo Tetris on the Japanese Nintendo Switch eShop. Now, when most companies out there released a demo, it's just, a vertical slice of what's to come, giving you just 1 level or maybe, 10 minutes of gameplay before they lock it behind a paywall, forcing you to go out and buy the full game if you want to continue playing. But for Japanese gamers that downloaded Puyo Puyo Tetris, yeah, Sega were very, very generous. The demo included unlimited, full-featured local multiplayer. They didn't put a timer on it, they didn't restrict the characters, and they didn't limit the number of matches that you could play. It was effectively a retail-ready version of the game's core versus mode, which is the best and most commonly played mode in the game. Gamers quickly realised that if all they cared about was battling their friends on the sofa or just playing random matches against the computer, they never actually needed to buy the $40 retail game at all. The demo was so complete that it was actively cannibalizing Sega's retail sales in Japan, with players reporting that they spent more time playing the free demo than almost any other game on their console. But at the end of the day, all of this information is only good if you knew about it at the time, which I didn't. Here's my Japanese imported copy of Puyo Puyo Tetris for the Switch that I got upon release of the system. And to be fair, there is one mode in this game that isn't in that demo. The story mode. Yeah, I get to play the story mode of Puyo Puyo Tetris, which you can't do in the demo. Entirely in Japanese. I can't read Japanese, and you can't change the language. I've got the sequel too. Okay, so for this segment, we're not really talking about a demo as such. We're talking about an unpolished, unfinished demonstration, a prototype, which yes means it doesn't entirely fit the format of this episode, but I'm going to include it anyway because honestly, making videos like this every week is bloody hard work. And look, I just really got to tell you about this one. This is ridiculous. So yeah, prototypes. Let's talk about them. And more importantly, let's talk about Sega's, obsession with releasing these accidental prototypes pretty much constantly. Where do I even start? Well, you got the Sega Smash Pack on the Dreamcast. This one was a masterclass in how to ruin your own legacy. It was meant to be the ultimate package deal, but instead, it delivered sloppy emulation, and as any Sonic 1 fan will tell you, if you see Sonic's muffin top hanging over the top of the logo, you know you're in for a bad time. Oh, just listen to it. But what was worse than all of this, for Sega at least, was Sega Smash Pack for the PC. A compilation of 7 games, one of which was Revenge of Shinobi, although in this version it was called the Super Shinobi, which is the Japanese name of the game. Even though this was the English version of the game. So what went on here? Obviously, it was the prototype build of the Revenge of Shinobi, or Super Shinobi if you will. Yep, it wasn't the final game. Now, for historical purposes, this is great. But at the time, what you had was an incomplete game with a missing ending and bosses that literally didn't do anything. Oh yeah, it was also the version of the game that included all of the illegally imported characters that Sega naturally put into the game without the permission of the right holders, and had spent the last decade or so deleting from the original game and just constantly re-releasing it without these characters included. But don't worry, they're all there in this version of the game. But don't worry, it didn't just happen to Sega's ninja mascot, it also happened to Sega's comic mascot? When retro enthusiasts downloaded Comix Zone on the Virtual Console, it again felt off. This time, it wasn't the emulation, which, still wasn't exactly perfect, but was completely fine for the average Joe. But again, it was a prototype. A prototype that still had a whole lot of bugs to clean up before it was ready for release, and a prototype that you just paid expecting to be the final release. And then, it was only a matter of time before it was gonna happen to Sonic 2. As in Sonic 2, not Sonic 2. When Sega partnered up with the absolute pinnacle of high quality hardware, My Arcade, I'm being sarcastic there by the way, for their Mighty Player arcade machines, lo and behold, when people started playing Sonic 3D Blast on these things, they realised that they weren't playing the polished final version, they were playing the E3 demo. Look, it says it right there on the title screen. See what I mean when I say it feels like that they just do this on purpose by this point? They just can't stop doing this. They're really, really good at it at this point. But don't worry, the worst is yet to come. And yep, that finally brings us to the crowning achievement of Sega's Oops, I Did It Again with Sonic the Hedgehog 4. Now look, I gotta be honest, it's easy to look back and laugh nowadays, but I remember the hype well. Everyone, myself included, was res vibrating with excitement for the return of 2D Sonic gameplay. We were absolutely gagging for it back then. But unfortunately, disaster struck for Sega thanks to the Xbox 360 PartnerNet service. Now, for those who don't know, PartnerNet was a closed developer-only version of Xbox Live. Due to some critical security lapses, which, to be fair, was a failure shared by both Sega and Microsoft, the service was essentially a sieve. Because before Sega could get their marketing into gear for the first true proper 2D return of a Sonic game since the Mega Drive days on home consoles, a pre-release version of Sonic 4 was accidentally leaked and the reception was awful. The prototype contained different level designs, jarring music, and physics that felt completely off to anybody who played any of the classic Sonic games before it, even the bad ports. Now look, this one is slightly different because it was a leaked prototype before the game came out, and again, for the time, it was a massive headache for Sega, but it still showed that Sega was again bloody good at accidentally letting their prototype slip through the cracks. Now the good news was that this massive backlash that the company got provided the exact kind of feedback that they didn't know they needed. And to Sega's credit, they actually listened. They decided to delay the game, they decided to polish the game, and, well, they tried to make it a whole lot better. As you probably know, Sonic the Hedgehog 4 is not a well-liked game, but that's not what we're talking about today. Hands up who wants to take a guess at what version Sega accidentally uploaded again to the Japanese Wii Virtual Console when the game was finished. Yep, that's right, the same bloody prototype. You just can't make this up, can you? Gamers were finally excited to see what Sega had done to make Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 1 better than the terribly reviewed prototype, and when they finally booted it up, they got the same bloody prototype. Well, if we're going to get nitpicky, one was obviously the Xbox 360 version and one was obviously the Wii version. There are ever so slight differences between the two, but the timestamp was the same on both of these demos. Sorry, prototypes. An absolute masterclass in how to mess up the revival of your company's most iconic franchise. Let's hope they learn their lesson with Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 2. Oh my god! This is the ultimate proof that Sega just simply refuses to learn. When pre-orders went live on Steam for Episode 2, a configuration error meant that the game became fully playable for anybody who pre-ordered it weeks before the official launch date. I'm not sure if you've ever seen a hardcore Sonic fan during the release of a brand new Sonic game in their natural habitat. Let's just say they're very, very vocal. Videos started going up online showing loads of bugs and of course the story. Sega had messed up again. They'd released yet another prototype accidentally, and this time there was absolutely nothing they could do. They just had to sit there and watch it all unfold. Again, it really is quite impressive how much Sega keep doing this. And again, they are still my favourite retro gaming company. But let's call it as it is. Releasing demos and holding on to your prototypes, yeah, it's not their strongest attribute, is it? Hey there guys, thanks for checking out the video. This is the part of the video where I give a massive shout out to all of my patrons, all of my YouTube members, with an extra big shout out going to Andrew Dalton, Brian Perez, British Video Game Nerd, Caroline, Stephen, Chev Matic, Chris aka Brackman, Conrad Constantine to Action Saxon, Dino, Insidious Bliss, Jay is Manchild, Jabba Al Aiden, Jeff Mianowski, Keiju Samurai 1985, Livestream, Mass Replay, Mike Fallon, Nick Bertner, Patrick Grip Jansen, Paul Float, Richard Aldrich, Shadow Dragon, Swift Justice Peterson, The Sneaky Ferrets, Vitas Varnes, Ye Old Hamburglar, Livestream, Andrea, Vike Echo, Thomas Coyote Baxter, Akatimo84, Stephen Hefner, Dina81, Kematura Villarreal, Derek Kuda, Enraged Gecko, Ian Quell, Mind of the Unsane, and XZX, and my cat. There it is, there it is. Much love to you guys. Thank you so much for supporting the channel and allowing me to make these videos. And yeah, if you want to get your name shouted out and see videos like this early, although this one didn't go up early, this was a bit of a last minute thing. There's links down below. You can be part of all of these awesome names you see down here. Oh, look, she ain't happy with me. Right, mucho love, guys. Yeah, until next time, this is DJ Slope signing out, and hopefully I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.